Wherever the internet is, there will always be drama, and today's special comes from a Twitch streamer called ExtraEmily, who essentially made some comments in her last live stream that kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And this is basically about how she intends to not pay her parents back a large sum of money that they pay for her college tuition. But given her circumstances, a lot of people are mad because essentially she has the ability to do so, but she's making this conscious choice not to. But let's take a look at some of these clips and then I'll give you the context. Okay, so this is the initial clip that sparked the outrage.
It's fine. The only reason they want me to pay it back is because I'm a streamer.
Yeah, you should pay it back.
Because I didn't use my degree. So they're like, okay.
How much is it?
170K.
You should pay it back.
I don't want to. I mean, I did pay them 10K and then I was like, I'm over this.
And then this next bit, basically, this clip was recent. And then this next clip, whoever posted this kind of took this other clip from somewhere else where Emily kind of went back to visit her parents and she had this conversation with her mum.
I'm over this. I don't want to pay anymore. Mom! Do you think it's a waste that I went to college?
That is a really good question. I spent a lot of money on that. And then you become a streamer.
Yeah, but I'm also helping.
That's a really good question. I don't know how to answer it.
But I'm paying you back for college.
Yes, that's right. That's a necessary.
She was at that time, I guess.
That's necessary?
Yeah, we're almost broke. Because you went to the college. Go to the expensive one, yeah.
Okay, so what's the answer?
Yes. Waste my money.
So just for context, ExtraEmily, or just Emily, she's what, 26 years old now. She is one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, and especially for a female Twitch streamer, she has done incredibly well. She's incredibly hardworking and she is incredibly successful. Like, she's really killing it, especially right now. And so the kind of question comes into mind is the fact that she's obviously making a significant amount of money. And so that is one of the biggest concerns for people in regards to not choosing to pay her parents back. So she went to Columbia University in New York City. It was a great accomplishment. She got into the school, which is a big deal on its own. And over 4 years of tuition and housing, I'm assuming that came up to $170,000, and her parents paid this out of pocket. And then obviously shortly after graduating from university, she kind of started growing as a streamer and never really went into the career path that was associated with her schooling as her parents would have expected her to do. But this is something you ought to take into consideration, right? There's a number of factors, but the first that I'll mention here is that when you're the first generation child born in a Western country of parents who come from a country that's not a Western country, like let's say Asia, but in my example, I could say even Africa, for example, right? Your parents come to this new country and they want to give you the opportunity to have the life and opportunities that they never had. And they have this expectation, almost this obligation is placed upon you that they want you to be successful and they want you to follow a career path that is in line with what they deem or what they believe to be respectable. That almost validates the struggles and the sacrifice that they made to get you to that point. But then another thing you got to take into consideration as well is the fact that her parents are clearly quite well off. In the USA, no matter what college or university you're going to, you have access to financial aid, government funding, but you become exempt from that support at the point of which your parents earn a certain amount of money. And you can see that from the house that she is shown in her streams a number of times when she goes back home to visit her parents, they are quite well off. And so I imagine that to pay $170,000 to cover her tuition at some point must have been incredibly expensive and a significant burden on her parents, but it was probably something that they had the ability to sustain. And I'm imagining that, as Emily mentioned, they probably don't need her to pay the money back. But the whole ideology here is that from her parents' perspective, coming from where they come from, the choices that she's made after taking their money for college tuition doesn't really fall in line with the idea of what they wanted her to do. And so they're almost seeking some form of reparation, some form of refund, because she's chosen to make a different choice and she has the ability to give them their money back, essentially voiding the whole going to college thing. Because whilst they might have imposed that obligation on her, it was also her choice to go to Columbia instead of going to, I don't know, a state school, for example. All right, let's continue.
Do you think that would be your best gift towards your dad or your parents? To pay back your tuition?
I'm never gonna pay it back though.
Wait, actually?
No, I don't want to.
But you could.
Yeah, but I'm not going
Wait, do you
to.
have student loans?
Yeah, student loans to my parents.
And you're making them pay it off?
No, like my parents paid, and then they're like, pay us back for college, and I just like don't want to.
Okay.
But don't you think that would make them like really happy and proud?
No, they're
I-
fine.
Are you doing it kind of like almost out of spite because you're like, I don't want to because like I can, but I know that you guys don't need it.
Yes,
That's why you don't.
yes, they don't need it.
I think that when you look at this, you can immediately draw certain conclusions. But when I kind of think about this, I feel like there's something that she knows, and there's something that her parents know, and that they know collectively as a family because they have their own personal relationship in life that we don't know. But I imagine that her parents are quite well off to the point where she understands that her paying this loan back isn't really that big of a deal. And even to the point where even I know ethnic parents kind of have this running ideology to where even though they make a significant amount of money, they still consider themselves to be almost not as rich as they actually are. But at the end of the day, parents are parents, and they have the responsibility and they have the authority. And so this is where it gets interesting, because essentially Emily had an agreement with her parents to pay this money back, and it was a lot more than just an agreement. This was something that was made official.
So you don't pay back your tuition because you don't use your degree. You haven't paid us yet.
Because I don't think I should pay you back for my tuition. I think
No, you don't. But you signed a contract because you
I
want
didn't
to
think
go
you
to
were
stream,
gonna.
and we didn't agree with you. So then you signed a contract with us. They said if you allow me to go to the stream, and I will pay your tuition back fully, full tuition back. And so there's agreement there. Still, we don't see any money. How much we see you pay back maybe less than 10K or something.
I paid you guys like 20K. That's a
Is
lot.
that? That's enough, yeah.
Okay, but I signed that contract as a joke.
No, there's no joke. Contract is contract. How come contract becomes a joke?
I just thought it was a joke. Like I was just like, oh yeah, I'll just sign it here. Like it's a joke.
Oh,
And then when mommy asked for the first payment, I was like, wait, you're serious?
well, we can use that to see you in the court.
What?
Yeah.
So now this is where we get into this territory where it gets a little bit hairy, because we don't know about the dynamics of their family. We don't know what might be a joke, what might be serious. But at the end of the day, you know, a contract is a contract. I'm actually curious about what the profession of her father actually is, because that context will provide a lot more clarity on whatever his perspective might be on this situation. But a contract is a contract, and dude wanted his money back, and he asked her for it. And I think that he knew that she had the ability to pay it back, kind of moving into this profession of streaming. And another thing as well is that she stated that, I guess, following the fact that she was pursuing a streaming career, and given the fact that she essentially lost her, you know, banking career because of streaming, I think that her parents kind of had a conversation to her to where almost they gave her their blessing, you know, somewhat of their permission, right, to pursue streaming as opposed to pursuing this whole career choice that they had envisioned for her, that they had invested hundreds of thousands of pounds into. So it's weird because they had a contract and he clearly seems like he wants that money back. And I don't know if he's necessarily joking when he's stating this, but I've seen a whole bunch of other clips to where her father and her mother are both constantly restating the fact that they want this money and that they pay for our college tuition. And in the spirit of context, there's one more clip that I want to throw in that kind of sheds a bit more light on this whole situation, because it is primarily a financial situation here. But essentially when Emily graduated, her parents gave her a £7,000 Cartier bracelet at the point of which she graduated. So over the course of the 4 years of which she was in college and her parents paid $170,000, maybe even more, I think it did get to a point where they were able to gift her with a congratulatory piece of jewelry that cost nearly £10,000. So this was something that they were able to do at that point. And so the whole idea of going broke, once again, I said it, This is something that I hear from ethnic parents all the time. So it's one of those situations where it's a lot more nuanced. But here, take a look at this. Actually, in this clip, she just lost this bracelet, which is why she's disclosing the origin of how she got it in the first place.
Chat, I got that bracelet as a gift from my parents when I graduated college. And it was $7,000. That is so sad. And it's like supposed to be like...
Yep, there it is, can confirm, $7,350. Okay, so there's two major factors here that I don't think that many people are seeing, right? So the first thing is that obviously with the whole ethnic parents situation in a Western country, in the USA, there is this kind of expectation, right? That you're working so hard and you've moved to this new country and you've given your child this new opportunity and you want them to make something of themselves so that you can almost kind of brag to everyone back home or everyone in a similar situation to you in the country that you've moved to that, hey, this is my daughter and she is this. This is my son and he has done this. Right? And they were on track to be able to accomplish that. And it's more of a mindset than anything, but they were on track to be able to have that feeling that they've been able to accomplish what their goal was with their one child. Right? And I say it's a mentality because even though Emily is successful as a streamer and she's making a lot of money, probably significantly more money than she would have made if she had gone into the financial field or at least stayed there, her parents still have this mindset. And so it almost seems like this whole tuition thing and the whole paying back thing, it seems like this is their way of trying to rationalize or deal with this situation that they were not equipped to deal with, considering the fact that for multiple decades, they had this particular idea in their mind, and that's basically being completely shattered. And I think that Emily, as the daughter, she knows her parents. They have the relationship. They know each other the best. And I know for a fact that if she did not pay them back, that they wouldn't hate her. They wouldn't ostracize her. I don't necessarily think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. But honestly, it's one of those situations to where I'm curious to see what Emily will say on her next stream. There's been many occasions of which she's gone home and she's streamed with her parents, and I think it would be really interesting for them to have some form of conversation about this publicly to kind of really address the situation in a conclusive manner. And you know what? This is one of the side effects of being a popular streamer or content creator or any kind of profession, right? Any career choice of where you're in the public eye, whether you're a politician, whether you're a celebrity, an actor, a singer, whatever, right? Once you create some form of product that you require the public to consume, whether they give you their time or their money, they're always going to feel the necessity to command some form of reciprocation from you as an individual, whether it's a response to their concerns, whether it's to take their suggestions for how you operate ultimately. So there's a lot of people that are just genuinely invested. And the other point that I was going to make that a lot of people have not taken into consideration is the fact that, hey, Emily's parents sent her to Columbia University and spent $170,000 for her to get a degree in financial engineering. And for those of you who don't specifically understand what the exact definition of engineering is, let me quickly give you a refresher. Engineering is the practice of using natural science, mathematics, and the engineering design process to solve technical problems, increase efficiency and productivity, and to improve systems. In a nutshell, what I'm saying is, Emily has a degree in financial engineering. That's what she worked hard for, and apparently she has a GPA of 3.9 something when she graduated. Okay, that's a significant feat. But what you need to understand is that look at how hard this girl works. I'm pretty sure that she streams way more than any other female streamer. And beyond that, the amount of work, the amount of time, the amount of creativity that she invests into her stream, it is apparent. And that is why she is successful. And she makes a significant amount of money. And bear in mind that in the US, taxes, you know, it's expensive. And so I imagine that when she's looking at her bottom line, being somebody that has the mind of a financial engineer, she's going to want to increase her bottom line as much as possible. She's going to want to make as much money as possible. And you and I and anybody else in the same situation would make the same choices. Okay, paying $10,000 or more a year to your parents when you know they don't need it and when you know that you don't have to do that. I think that any kid will probably try and get away with that with their parents. And I know there's a lot of things that you've done that your parents aren't happy with that you hope they would let you get away with. So come on. Like, you know it's true. At the end of the day, in this debate, there is no right or wrong answer. Ultimately, as a individual, when you become successful, one would hope that you would want to take care of the people that have taken care of you your entire life, being your parents. If they are not in some kind of financially advantageous position, especially, but given these circumstances, she does do things for her parents, like she just took them on vacation. And whilst that's not paying them back $170,000, that's still something. Okay, this is one thing that when it comes to people in the public eye, it's like you want them to be transparent. You want them to be open about everything that's going on in their lives. You feel entitled to that right. But at the same time, it means that you're going to come across things that you don't necessarily like or agree with. And that comes with the territory. And that's not right or wrong. It's just how it is. But if you push this narrative of trying to reprimand people because they make a conscious choice to do things that you don't necessarily agree with, but that they have the right to do, whether you agree with it or not, it's something that you need to be able to let go and appreciate the fact that at least you know about it and you're getting the real person, you're getting a real personality, and they're not hiding from you and they're not pretending to be somebody that they're not. And that's the bigger picture.